Lord Brunson back at you with the back at you, and I am the best reporting on the Eagles. Listen, man, we just can't afford to lose Joe Douglas. I'm sorry, Jets. I'm sorry that your GM just can't get it right. But you know what? I don't even fault the Jets GM for a multitude of reasons. You know, it's kind of weird when people just jump to the gun and try to go get somebody like Le'Veon Bell. They don't have the pieces to be contenders. It's not like Le'Veon Bell was the missing piece. So I could understand the mixed feelings with going to get Le'Veon anyway. But at the end of the day, that's what happens, man. That's the structure of good teams, man. Good teams lose good people, man. I'll post Joe Douglas's biography in the description of this video just to put you guys on some of the game of the things that, you know, Joe Douglas has done for the organization, man. He's just like, he's risen to the ranks, man, of just top scout. He's responsible in part for, you know, scouting a lot of the players that played the role in Super Bowl 52, like Corey Clement, one of the major rookies that stepped up for us that year. He's just, you know, it's not much you could say about Joe Douglas that ain't true. He came and we won. It's all a working conglomerate. We all know Howie Roseman is the GM, but Howie got people under him too. And, you know, it'll be an honor for a guy like Joe Douglas to be able to get a promotion to where Howie is. You know what I mean? You got to start somewhere. That's how those things work, man. Those guys were always something else, man. Head coaches were once coordinators. You know what I mean? That's just how it works, man. Matt Patricia was a coordinator under Belichick. Now he's a head coach. So some of these guys are worthy of these opportunities. But, you know, do you really want to go to the Jets and be a GM for the Jets? Do I want to see Howie Roseman's style duplicated somewhere else? I really don't want to see it, man. But, you know, you got to take your opportunities when you got to take them. And what did I say, man? What did I say? So now reports are coming out that Wentz could have an extension done by the summer. What did I say, man? What did I say? I said it could happen, and I basically said it should happen. You might as well do it now, man. Do it now. Put all the comments to rest about his health, man. Get behind your guy. You see that other team. I don't even want to say their name no more, man. I'm not saying their name no more, man. I'm just calling that other team, man. You see that other team, they ready to put the chips on the table for somebody who didn't even throw over 25 touchdown passes. But what they're doing is instilling confidence in them and saying, hopefully, we hope you could be that way. We already know you look at game tape of Carson Wentz anyway. We already know who you want to be like. But hopefully, you going to be like that. So we're going to pay you one day. You know what I'm saying? So I just say they should get the deal done, man. Man, I hope y'all enjoy this next video, man. Let's get it. Or the next half of this video. With the back at you, I am the best reporting on the Eagles, man. Let's get right to it, man. So based upon how I feel, you know, the PFF is just so flawed, Pro Football Focus, and how they like to rank things, I'm going to come up with the system. It's a very basic system. So I'm taking the Eagles cornerbacks, as you see right here on the left. I got the Eagles cornerbacks that I think is going to make the roster. Jalen Mills, Maddox, LeBlanc, Russel Douglas, Darby, Sidney Jones, and Countess. I'm not going to add McKinnon. I'm not going to add Hawkins. I'm not going to add Liggins. I'm not going to add Ejibikwe, simply because I just don't think they're going to make the team. Now, this is just corners. They got Countess. They got Blake Countess actually listed as a defensive back, so he's kind of like an Avant Maddox where he can play both. Actually, Countess reminds me, man. This is crazy, man. He reminds me of a young, strapping Malcolm Jenkins, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I use this system. I use the following categories. I use hands, I use speed, I use tackle, I use zone, and I used man. So right there you got 5 categories. And in these categories, for each cornerback, the highest you can get in the category is a 9. So you can get anywhere from a 1 to a 9.5. Yeah, the highest you can get is a 10. That's how I did it. So you can get anywhere from a 1 to a 10. Sorry about that. So that would give you a total of a 50. Let me correct that right here. I don't know why I had 45. Yeah, that'll give you a total of a 50. So a 50 would probably be your perfect cornerback in most situations. Now, I don't think we have anybody like that on our roster, obviously. But, you know, let's start with Jalen Mills. And I'm gonna tell you guys why I give these guys grades. Why the grades are the way they are for certain cornerbacks. Now, Jalen Mills, for hands, I got Jalen Mills at a 7. I mean, when Jalen Mills finds himself in a position to get the ball, he comes away with it for the most part. But, you know, we'll get to a little bit more of that in a bit. Jalen Mills speed, I got Jalen Mills speed at a 7.5. that speaks for itself. I don't think he's the fastest cornerback on the roster or one of the fastest cornerbacks in the league. Now, Jalen Mills tackle, I got Jalen Mills tackle at a 9. Jalen Mills is an outstanding tackling cornerback, especially in certain situations around the goal line and when teams definitely know you're going to run the ball. Jalen Mills' his zone defense as a corner, I got him at 8.5. He's pretty solid in zone. He stays in his area for the most part. He uses his head in zone. I like him as a really good zone corner. Now, this is what Jalen Mills really lacks, and I think his score really took a hit in man coverage. Man, I got Jalen Mills at a 6.5. We know the troubles that Jalen Mills had in getting beat with double moves. We know that he has trouble staying with speedsters. He's a little too rough. He gets flagged sometimes. But that brings his score at a whopping 38.5 out of 50. Let's move down to Avant Maddox, man. Now, this is just based off what I've seen last year. Obviously, some guys that have been on rosters longer than others had better years, but this is based, I'm rating these guys off last year. And obviously, Jalen Mills didn't play the entire season, and it opened up doors for other cornerbacks on this list. But out of what I've seen out of Avant Maddox, I got to give the hands an 8. Avant Maddox has shown the ability to be able to break on balls in short route situations, and he can stay with guys, man. I think Avant Maddox has good hands for a corner. Avant Maddox speed, I'm going to go with an 8.5. Avant Maddox can play safety and corner. That just speaks to his versatility speed-wise and everything like that. Avant Maddox tackle, I'm going to go with 8. Now, I'm not saying he's the best tackler when I give him an 8. I'm saying that he's a willing tackler. That's what that means. Now, cornerbacks miss tackles all the time, especially on big body receivers, but I'm going to say he's a willing tackler, so I'm going to go ahead and give him an 8 right there. Avant Maddox zone defense, I'm going to give him an 8.5. I like what I see out of Avant Maddox in the zone. I think Avant Maddox is well-rounded. And man defense, I'm going to give him 8. That puts Avant Maddox at, a 41 out of 50 right there. So let's move on down to Crevion LeBlanc. Crevion LeBlanc, I got Crevion LeBlanc hands at an 8. I got Crevion LeBlanc speed at an 8. I got Crevion LeBlanc tackle at an 8.5. I got Crevion LeBlanc zone defense at an 8.5, and I got Crevion LeBlanc man defense at a 7.5. I believe it could have been higher if we would have seen more from him, but he did get a really good key interception against the Saints on the Saints' first possession. And he got a really good key strip out of a ball that was in a wide receiver's hands. I think Crevion LeBlanc just, he just shows a lot, man, and I like what I've seen with Crevion LeBlanc, man, from that aspect. Let's move down to Russel Douglas, man. So wait, let's get Crevion LeBlanc's grade. I gave Crevion LeBlanc a 40.5. So right now we got Avant Maddox is the highest rated corner out of those 3 guys. So let's move on. All right, so let's move on to Russel Douglas. So I got Russel Douglas. I got Russel Douglas hands at an 8.5. I got Russel Douglas speed at a 7.5. I got Russel Douglas tackle at a 9. Russel Douglas is a heat-seeking missile, man. I like what Russel Douglas does around the line of scrimmage as a cornerback, man. He sees the ball get to somebody on the bubble screen, and he's shooting right down there, man. A very willing tackler, man. I got Russel Douglas tackling abilities at a 9. Russel Douglas zone defense is at a 9. I've seen Russel Douglas come from one zone to another zone to get an interception. Russel Douglas really could play the cornerback position, man. I like Russel Douglas, man. Russel man-to-man defense, I got him at a 7.5 just because his speed, obviously. And that puts Russel Douglas at a 41.5. Now, Ronald Darby, man. I got Ronald Darby's hands at a 7.5. Could be a little higher. I could be a little off on that. I got Ronald Darby's speed at a 9.5. Easily the fastest cornerback on the roster, man. Ronald Darby, this is where he really took a hit, man. Ronald Darby's tackling ability is very bad. I got Ronald Darby at a 5 for tackling. This is where Ronald Darby's score really took a hit. And you all know how I like Ronald Darby, man. But I got to be a realist, man. Ronald Darby is just not a willing tackler. I just think he just doesn't give a lot of effort to be a better tackler either in most cases. So that's why I got him at a 5, man. Ronald Darby zone defense, 8.5. Ronald Darby man defense at an 8. Mostly because of his speed, man. He's able to stay with you, so if you're there, you can contest in most situations, man. That puts Ronald Darby at a 38.5. Sidney Jones, we haven't really seen a healthy Sidney Jones. So, these scores are not a shot at Sidney Jones. It's just what we've seen so far. He hasn't been healthy since he's been in the league. Sidney Jones, hands 6. I don't think he got an interception yet. Speed 7. I know he can fly when he's healthy, though. Tackling 6. Probably should be 7 there. Zone defense 6. Zone defense 7. Man-to-man defense 6. I got Sidney Jones at a 32 right now, simply because he is never healthy. That's the only reason why he's so low. And let's go to Countess, man. I really like Countess, man, from when he played for the Rams, man. He blocked a punt against us, took it back to the house. He is a really good tackler, man, on special teams. He really reminds me of Malcolm Jenkins, man. I really like that guy, man. That guy really is surprising, man. I think he's going to be one of the captains on special teams. I think he's going to give Malcolm Jenkins some much-needed rest towards the later part of his career, and I think he makes the roster, man. Hands 8, speed 8, tackle 9, a really good tackler, man. Look him up, man. Zone defense 8, man defense 7. I got him at a 40, man. A 40 out of a possible 50, man. So there you have it right there, man. By my standards, so what I do is I take these scores and I divide them by how many categories. So for instance, for Jalen Mills, you got a 7 plus a 7.5 plus a 9 plus an 8.5 plus a 6.5, and you divide that by 5, that gets you a 38.5. I feel like this method is very much easier to understand than Pro Football Focus. And I just don't see justifiably how Pro Football Focus can have categories like best tight end, but have Ingram over Zach Ertz. It just doesn't make any sense to me, man. But there you have it, man. Low Brunson back at you with the back at you. And it looks like by not being biased and just judging off an eyeball test, I got Russel Douglas, man, as the highest rated the highest rated cornerback going into the league, man. Slight edge over Maddox, man, based upon what I seen last year, man. And let me know what you guys think in the comments.